What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. This is part 2 of my ranking and reviewing Eric Clapton's studio albums, the 1980s. There were 5 albums he released in the 80s. I'm going to review those from my least favorite to favorite. Then at the end, I will incorporate this list with the 70s albums and show you where I would rank all of them. This is 80s is when I got into Clapton with Money and Cigarettes. It's when I decided I was out of Clapton with August. In between those years, I saw him a whole bunch of times live, fell in love with his 70s material, and then went down the rabbit hole with Derek and the Dominoes Cream, Blind Faith, all that other stuff that happened prior to August. Then after August, I checked out his albums eventually, but it wasn't one of those urgent things. And I can't say I've been a contemporary Eric Clapton fan. Like I've still tried him, I listened to him, and he's got some good stuff that he released after the 80s. But that's kind of when I checked out my hardcore period. I'm still going to review the albums and try to come at it from someone who fell in love with his 70s stuff, fell in love with them in the 80s, fell more in love with the 70s stuff. Now I'm going to try to just come to terms with the 80s stuff. So here we go. 5 albums. How'd we get here from Frank Zappa? God, I see God. That's Clapton. We're only in it for the money. He says those words. It's a good enough for catching. Good enough something for me, connection for me, because Clapton's on his Zappa album. All right, that's enough yakking. On to number 5. Number 5 is Journeyman, which came out in 1989, his last of the 80s. This is still an album. Phil Collins' sound is still present on here, but I don't think Phil Collins has his heavy hand on here. He plays drums on like 1 or 2 tracks, but that's it. But there's still that 80s heavy production sound, that sort of Phil Collins-esque pop vibe that he brought to the previous 2 albums a lot more successfully. But this was the first album I bought in my life, and I've fallen victim to this a number of times, in which an artist I maybe didn't like their previous album, or the general consensus was they were going down the wrong path, and maybe just not feeling inspired. And then they release an album and everybody's like, this is it. This is a return to form. No, we're not going to rank it up there with those 70s classics, but this is good. This is a good sign. And I remember when this came out, this got a lot of love critically, and I didn't get it right away because I didn't like August. I did not like the opening single, which I think was Pretending. It's the one I remember hearing. Might have been Bad Love. I like Bad Love better, but I didn't like Pretending. I finally got around to getting it and was like, what? This? No, this? I don't like this album. I don't like the 80s gated drum sound. I don't like a lot of the production. The second song on here, Anything for Your Love, there is this really cool, almost Let It Grow, Eric Clapton Let It Grow, sort of guitar, like arpeggio vamp kind of going on in the background. But it is buried under these drums and just this layer of 80s nonsense. It doesn't need to be there. And like every once in a while, that little little guitar part seeps through, and you're like, there's a good song here. But it's been produced completely to sound horrible. And so much of this album, it's just bad drum sound. It's bad radio-friendly pop rock. I don't like it. It opens up with Pretending, which is just kind of overproduced. Bad Love was kind of a hit, kind of generic radio rock. Does have this neat little badge type instrumental thing in the middle that I think had to be done as a badge. Like, hey, remember, it's just like badge. Also, the word bad is in the title, Bad Love. It has kind of interesting, but it's kind of ruined by everything that follows it. Running on Faith, the title suggests what kind of slow ballad this is going to be. We got a couple kind of Hard Times, the Ray Charles cover, is kind of lounge bluesy, but not that good. No Alibis, just horrible 80s drum sound. Old Love has that sort of, he co-wrote it with Robert Cray, has that sort of bluesy, jammy feel. The bass line kind of reminds me of Erykah Badu's Tyrone. Boom, 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 boom. Just kind of has that. Kind of cool because amidst all the other stuff on here, just being able to play your guitar and be bluesy and grittier kind of stands out. Breaking Point, just the sound of this is just ugh. I think there's even some bump, pop, and bass in there. Lead Me On is just so incredibly chill and just like soft rock. And then Before You Accuse Me is a nice album-ending blues rave up. But yeah, no, I don't ever listen to this. It just sounds like overproduced 80s rock. Not a complete waste, but my least favorite thing in the 80s. My number 5, Journeyman. My number 4 in the 80s is August, his 10th studio album. This came out in 1986. Phil Collins, most of this, a lot of this, half of this, 75% of this sounds like it could be on a Phil Collins solo album. You got just random horn bursts coming in. You got that big drum sound dominating. Like, this could have fit on like No Jacket Required, or and maybe not the first one, because the first one was a little artsier and maybe better, but maybe one of those first two. I don't think I've ever actually heard the fourth Phil Collins solo album, to be honest. It's got some hits. I mean, It's in the Way That You Use It is on here, which I have to admit is kind of catchy. I mean, Eric's not doing anything new, but it's kind of a catchy pop song. I thought Tearing Us Apart with Tina Turner had its moments, though Tina can't really save it. Hung Up on Your Love has a really nice just pop. Might not be a good Eric Clapton song, but it's just kind of a good pop song, which I think, you can differentiate between those two things. What else is on here that I want to talk about? Holy Mother is kind of a nice cool ballad that I've grown to like over the years. Miss You's kind of got good radio rock energy. But the thing that makes this album not essential, because it's not that great of a cover, but it's a fantastic cover, is they cover Yellow Magic Orchestra's Behind the Mask. And they embrace the keyboards. It's just got some good tight guitar playing in it. The choice of covers is fantastic. I think it's one of the highlights of the album. It turned me on to the existence of Yellow Magic Orchestra, which I think is worth something. So Clapton's got to get credit for that. But just an awesome it's a great song, and it's a great cover. It's like the second to last song. It comes towards the end. It's like this, like, you made it this far. We're going to treat you with this. Part of the big problem with Clapton in the 80s is like, it's just these generic rock songs. And then his guitar playing comes in and like random fills, or he gets like a short outro solo while there's already way too much stuff going on. And that's kind of the problem with this and Journeyman. But this one, the songs that these things are buried in, and even some of Phil Collins' production choices, as dated as they sound, I think make this a more enjoyable album than Journeyman. And this was the album that made me stop listening to Clapton. So it's not bad. It's got its moments, but Behind the Mask, fantastic. But that's my number 4, August. My number 3 is Another Ticket, his 7th solo studio album, which came out in 1981. This was the second album I ever got from Eric Clapton. I like it. It definitely, it's a chill vibe. It's lacking. It definitely could require a little more energy and a little more hard rocking. It's definitely kind of a chill, modest album, as many of his 70 things are, but that's what I like about the 70s stuff. I failed to mention the influence of J.J. Cale on him in the last one. Somebody pointed out in the comments, thank you. But even though there are no J.J. Cale songs covered on this album, we're still in a pretty chill vibe. First side of the album, maybe a little too chill, except for the last song, which last song just kind of comes out of nowhere and all of a sudden changes the dynamic of this album. But Something Special, Black Rose, Blow Wind Blow, Muddy Waters cover, Another Ticket. Another Ticket, kind of the first time we get that kind of Tears from Heaven energy, which I'm not a big fan of. But that kind of, we're hitting at that kind of energy. And then side A, right in the middle of the album, closes up with I Can't Stand It, the one hit off this album, which I kind of like. I like the playful start and stop nature of it. Just sounds like Clapton's having fun, and it's maybe one of the, everything on here is loose. It's so casual, it's loose, but there's a playful looseness to this that I like. I Can't Stand It. I think it's kind of the standout on the album, which shows you sort of how low, maybe not the second best song of this album, which shows you how kind of low stakes, but just all around pleasant this is. The second side is definitely better, even the second half if you're listening on CD. I think once with I Can't Stand It, the energy kind of changes. Hold Me Lord has some really good sort of upbeat acoustic rock energy, some nice slide playing. Floating Bridge is kind of a nice, chill, kind of slow blues jam with some really nice playing in it. Not too aggressive, definitely on the chill, definitely on the Floating Bridge side, but I still like it. Catch Me If You Can, I like the music of it. I just don't really like the singing in the song, but I think the music is pretty good. And then what is the highlight of the album? Great energy, great upbeat rocker, should have opened the album. This energy could have been even, maybe some of this energy could have been injected into another of the couple songs, but Rita Mae is an awesome closer. Awesome closer. And I've been guilty many a time of getting through this album and then hitting Rita Mae and going, that I'm in such a good mood, I'm just going to go back and listen to that album again because Rita Mae is at the end. I like Rita Mae. That's a good, rare, high energy. Well, Clapton, more of this. And it's an original. More of this, Clapton. But that's my number 3 in the 80s, Another Ticket. My number 2 came out in 1982. This is his 8th studio album, Money and Cigarettes. I actually bought this because of a review in Rolling Stone magazine. I subscribed to Rolling Stone magazine. It was the lead review back whenever this came out in 82. And I remember I got a 3-star review, so out of 4 and 5 stars. So it wasn't this overwhelmingly positive review, but I remember it saying like Clapton was a little more mature. He was a little more like just under control, but still fun and casual and laid back. And it was like this, he's not trying to like make the greatest album ever. He's just making good music. And I was like 12 and I was like, I want to be an adult and listen to just good music. So I went and bought this album and listened to it a lot because I probably didn't buy another album for months when I was 12. Probably bought it at my birthday and then didn't get another album until Christmas unless I was listening to my stepdad's, but something I bought. Came out in the I probably bought it for my birthday. So it had probably been out for a while by the time I bought it. Maybe I had Easter money or something. But I remember buying it. And I still like it. I still think that review is perfect. It's a more mature, the production is good, like his songs are focused. You got some good blues jams, you got some good poppy stuff. You're kind of a little all over the map. Got mostly originals, a handful of covers. But yeah, it's just a solid, fun album with some really good highlights. Everybody Ought to Make a Change. Kind of the one that kind of bothers me. It's a little bang. I don't like that opening little riff that it has. Kind of a mid-tempo rock track that's not bad. I just wish there was a better opener. The Shape You're In, which I absolutely love. Guitar energy in this. Great groove and riff from the beginning. Ain't Going Down. Clapton's just shamelessly stealing from Hendrix's version of Watchtower. Straight up Watchtower, but it's okay. We need more Watchtower vibes. I've Got a Rock and Roll Heart. It's a cover song. It's about as old and I'm getting old as you possibly be. Oh no, it's written by somebody else, but it is for this album apparently. It just sounds like an old guy. Like this is the old guy they were talking about. Not a bad song. Man Overboard's kind of cheesy. Kind of don't like that song. Very kind of cheesy 70s pop rock. It's a little bit fun, but Pretty Girl. Yeah, don't have anything memorable to say. Pretty Girl, Man in Love's got some nice like slide in there. Crosscut Saw's got a really nice groove, some really kind of fun air guitar in there. Slow Down Linda's got some really good energy in there. Nice bluesy rocker. And then Crazy Country Hop is like almost like rockabilly, almost like a Chuck Berry light, sort of like you was a teenage baby, but with a little more of a rockabilly light song. Kind of a good mix, kind of an eclectic fun. Got some bluesy stuff, some country stuff, some poppy stuff, some old man stuff. It's all right here. Money and Cigarettes. Ry Cooder plays on this album. Albert Lee, who was his guitarist for a while. Yeah, some good stuff on here. It's just not going to change your mind or redefine anything. It's a nice, comfortable album. Money and Cigarettes. Let's get on to number 1. My number 1 is Behind the Sun, Clapton's 9th studio album, came out in 85. Also a Phil Collins studio album. Just call it a Phil Collins with Eric Clapton on vocals. Phil Collins helped produce this. He provided that drum sound. There are big Phil Collins drum moments on here. Everybody knows She's Waiting. That boom, boom, ba-da-dun, dun, She's Waiting. Just huge Phil Collins drums. Just Like a Prisoner. Really awesome, kind of emotive, dark, just like a huge Phil Collins drum sound on there. Phil Collins is all over this thing, man. Pretty good album too. I think even like the softer stuff, we're leaning into like Phil Collins, light pop. You know, we're not going anywhere as like that. What was the one about the homeless people? Nothing that deep and dark, but we're starting to get to that just light, radio-friendly Phil Collins pop vibe on here. She's Waiting is the opener. I love She's Waiting. Dun-dun, just love the big drums, love the big guitar riff. See What Love Can Do. Could be a Phil Collins song. Nice 80s, radio-friendly, kind of light pop R&B type thing. Same Old Blues. Awesome. Awesome. He's playing the same old blues every night. It's a Clapton original, and he's playing the guitar, and it sounds good. And this, you put like nice blues jams this solid, and you surround them by some good pop rock, makes for a good album for Clapton. Knock on Wood, Bowie covered this live. Clapton's doing it here. Confuses me. It's a great song. It's a weird song to cover. Better knock, knock, knock on wood. I don't know. It's always kind of bothered me. It's always too catchy of a song. Something's Happening, just kind of some normal sort of just pop rock type stuff. I don't think I took any notes on Something's Happening at all. Just a light rock groove. Forever Man, another hit. I like it. Boom, ba-dum, bum, ba, ba. Like the way Clapton comes in. What do you tell me? Just coming in with like some urgency. It All Depends, kind of a slow song. Not much to that. I don't even think I took notes on that. Tangled in Love, really fun pop song. 'Cause I'm tangled in love. Really good energy. Yeah, a nice, good radio-friendly pop song. Got some good jamming guitar at the end of it. Really like it. Never Make You Cry. Yeah, another slow one. Kind of a nice, jammy, chill ending that kind of floats off for a while. Just Like a Prisoner, lots of really guitar on here. This is the guitar indulgent track on side B, and then Behind the Sun, nice somber little gentle closing ballad. I like this album. I actually still listen to this like kind of not regularly, but it's in the rotation. I think it's got some good hooks. It's radio-friendly pop rock, but it's got some good guitar playing. Phil Collins makes some good choices. Yeah, it sounds like an 80s album, but hey, at least it sounds like a good 80s album. But that's my number one, Behind the Sun. All right, there they are in written form. Take a quick glance at them before I take that list away and show you how they would integrate into the 70s, which if you haven't watched the 70s one and you want to find out in suspenseful terms, stop now because I'm going to give it away. But you'll know my rankings, if not my reasons. You won't know my reasons. But that's what it looks like if I combine the two of them. Behind the Sun makes it up to number 5. And Money and Cigarettes, they both passed No Reason to Cry. Another Ticket, August are up there. Above, There's One in Every Crowd. There's One in Every Crowd, man. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot just kind of gets me every time. Not the biggest fan of that. But yeah, anyways, that's how I would rank them right now. Yeah, I think that's right. But I thought it makes sense. Yeah, because August is Behind the Mask, man. That song alone, I really, really like that song. But yeah, that's what my list looks like. And Journeyman, I just can't. All right, on to the 90s, which kind of new territory for me. I've heard those albums before, but been revisiting them, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm going to finish this out. Not that many albums, but anyways. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Eric Clapton in the 80s, all that kind of stuff. Appreciate those of you who have been commenting on the other videos. Go listen to Clapton. Go listen to Behind the Sun. It's a good, overproduced 80s album. Clapton and Collins doing some good there. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that stuff. Peace. Talk to you later.